Good evening, hope that we're all well. Happy Sunday, one and all. Thank you for those catching up on replay. Thank you for catching up on the podcast. It's me, Ryan Hartley, always better than yesterday. And I am here with episode 40 of the Always Better Than Yesterday interview sessions. Episode 40, how did we get here? I'll tell you how we got here. Consistency. Consistency is how we got here. But for those of you that might be joining for the first time, I'm just going to send some invites whilst I'm just doing a bit of an introduction. So those of you that are joining for the first ever time, let me just give you a very quick rundown of what this is and why I do it. Very simply, they are a series of Facebook Live interview sessions where I ask inspiring and successful people some questions. Why do I do that? Well, I love to learn from people. I love to learn about what works for other people. I love to learn about what drives people, what motivates people. And rather than do that in private, rather than have those conversations just to myself, I thought, why not use the power of social media for good reasons? It gets a bit of a bad rep, but actually I think if you can use it for a good cause, a good reason, then you can actually use the power of social media to have a huge impact. And that's all I want to do, is make a positive difference to your day through the power of speaking with inspiring and successful people. So that's a very short introduction. Invites have gone out. I won't waste too much of your time. Lots of people on already. Good to see you. My guest is there. My guest is ready. So let's just see. Fantastic. I can bring him on. So very short introduction. My latest guest is actually just down the road, an hour just down the road, and I will have to meet up with this chap in very near future. I would love to go to one of the events, but you'll hear more about that shortly. I've been following his journey, and I've recently got his book. You need to go and check this out. It's probably backwards, but it says Back Yourself, How to Transform Challenge into Confidence. So this is all about inspiring your personal development journey. So hopefully you'll hear more about the man behind this book and all the other things that he does. He's an inspiring human being, and I'm going to bring him on now, and I won't say too much. Good to see you, Sarah. Good to see you, Hayley, James, Martine, Bill, loads of people on. Tara, Tasha, Bethan, Kat, Gary, Paul, loads of people on. Hello, my friend.
Hey, buddy. Can you see me? Can you hear me, more importantly?
Loud and clear, perfectly.
Yeah,
How
good.
are you?
On these things. Yeah, great. Thanks, mate. How are you?
Fantastic. Good weekend?
Good to be here. Yeah, you know what? It's been really nice. Like today has been just purely family. We've got a little 2-year-old, and he's had mum and dad all day.
Lush.
And that's going to be like possibly the last time, because we've got another baby due in 2 weeks' time. So special day, I think.
Make
in a weird
most
way.
of it. Yeah, love
absolutely.
that, mate. Do me the
How about
honour
you?
and the privilege. I've had much the same. I coach little 6 and 7-year-olds at the rugby club, so
Oh, wow.
my Sundays are always the best. I just love the energy of young people playing rugby. But do me the honour and the privilege of introducing your good self to the watchers and listeners.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me. I'm going to look here when I'm talking to everyone, look there when I'm talking to you. So my name's Tommy Gentleman, and I'm a gym owner. I'm a life coach. I'm an author recently. But more importantly than all of that, I'm someone who's looking to make the most out of my time. And if you're on that same wavelength, which you probably are, I'm guessing, especially if you're watching live Sunday night and all, that you know that you have a finite amount of time. And with that time, you've got opportunity. And what I like to do is not only do that myself, but help other people to realize that and to connect that purpose into their everyday lives. It doesn't matter how many times you get introduced on an interview or something, it's never a straightforward answer. I love being able to elaborate a little bit. I appreciate that this platform is somewhere we can do that. So yeah, I hope that's made sense to people out there.
Yeah, love that. Just tell us a little bit about your story. Tell us about where you're from, a bit of your background.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm, as you just said, I'm literally an hour away from you. I was born and raised in my hometown, Andover in Hampshire. And apart from doing a year and a half where I went to New Zealand to go like basically find out what life was about, learn how to be a man, learn how to be a personal trainer, and do all that in kind of this short space of time. Other than that, I've lived here my whole life. it is home. And once upon a time, I wanted to get out of here, ASAP, to see the bigger world and everything else. But I think when you go through certain things, I'm sure if you're watching this and you've maybe got that mindset thing going on, you come to realize that it's what you make of things and places that really counts, rather than the things and places themselves. So home is home, mate. Yeah. Grew up here. I've got a gym. I'm actually sat here in the gym right now. Two reasons. Number one is home. Like, I have to always sort of be really quiet when I'm at home, and I don't like that. I like to kind of go for it. But also I snuck a cheeky workout in, because I've been letting that kind of drop to the back a little bit.
Yeah.
So snuck a cheeky workout in. So I'm in the gym. I've been the owner of the gym. I started this 7 years ago, and it was sort of the natural progression, a collision of ambition and experience. I'd always worked in the fitness industry and always had big goals, big plans. And it was a gutsy move, but grateful that it's worked out. 7 years on, here I am in one of our rooms, like a meeting room. So that's kind of not really what I do day to day anymore, but I still have a very large input there. More about, like, one of your topics you like to talk about, leadership, making sure that my guys are, like, clear on what they need to do, make sure they're motivated, make sure they understand what we're doing and why. Why, very important. And as well as that, I have a business which combines coaching, events, and speaking. And that business has really taken off over the last 18 months. Allows me to do cool stuff like this, because I'm, like, constantly producing content, podcasts, videos, Instagram, Facebook. I was actually shocked today because my Instagram stories ran out. Like, my little thing ran out. I've literally, like, the 24-hour thing hasn't ran out, I think, since it started. I let it run out, but it was because I was having too much fun.
Yeah,
so I can't complain.
Good reasons. Where did you start? Because I saw you share something recently. It was about documenting your journey and looking back when you first started. And take us back to when you first started. Where was your headspace at? What was your kind of mindset back then?
Fearless. Just fearless. Partly because I was so naive, right? Because I was so young. I had the drive installed into me from a couple of pivotal moments where, just being a teenager, you just go about your everyday life, and a couple of, like, adults said to me, like, "You're going to go far." And it was those, like, little moments where I thought, what do they mean by that? Why me? Like, what is it about me? And so I did start to get into personal development quite early, which I'm very grateful for. I was around about 17, 18 years old when I first knew of, like, Tony Robbins, and first started to read into those kind of topics. And I look back now at some of the things I did in my early 20s, and it scares the life out of me, because I'm like, I probably wouldn't do it now.
Yeah.
I probably have, like, a little bit more sort of lag in my thinking. Whereas back then I was like, business rates, that's fine. They'll let us off. Yeah. They don't let you off, by the way. They do not let you off. But things like that, I just kind of went for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a sensitivity to time, which I've already kind of hinted on. And those of you that have read my book or that will read my book will get the full picture of this. But I think, in a nutshell, anyone who's ever kind of been exposed to the fragility of life, especially when it's sudden, has this sudden awakening. It's almost like you get the big contrast of, like, pain and darkness and loss. And then all of a sudden, once you're able to figure it out in your own time and in your own way, you can see the other side of it, which is this massive opportunity that we've all got.
Yeah.
So I think part of that as well, because it kind of, my life changed when I was sort of 20. And the last 10 years have been head down, like, just go. So with regards to the videos, I'd always done it. Like, my friends, and those, like, if they're watching this, I'm not sure, used to mock me for taking photos of myself before that was a thing, before it was a name, before it was a selfie. I'd get, like, you'd have the camera only on one side, so it was guesswork a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I had to try and, like, press the button, and I used to do that, and I used to video myself and stuff, and I'm so grateful I did, because I've got, like, 10 years of it now. And that's why the other day when you would have seen that video, I just would have seen it as appropriate to dig it out. Key piece of advice, though, that moment 10 years ago filming felt the same as this moment right now. So for anyone watching this, film whatever you're doing right now, because in 10 years time, you'll be so grateful that you did.
Amazing. What sort of things have you learned along the way? What you talked about, why me, about being the one that's going to go far. Have you worked that out?
I think I have actually.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if it's the right platform, time, early in the conversation to jump straight in. But put it this way, I'm a spiritual person,
Hmm.
and I've always been spiritual without realizing it.
Yep.
And I've started to realize it. In the last 2 or 3 years, really started to encourage myself to investigate that sort of area of my curiosity. And so I have an understanding of what I think it means on a sort of spiritual level, but I think in terms of a human practical level, I think it's the ability to do it and then sort of figure out the bits afterwards.
Yep.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Sort of like people sometimes call it build the plane as you fly. I've always been able
Entrepreneurship.
to do that. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I've never been afraid to do something that not many people have done, or that I think might be difficult. Other people might say you can't do that. I've always been okay with that.
Love that. What are some of the things that you talked a little bit about coming across Tony Robbins, and
Yeah,
do you ever get pigeonholed in the same space as him?
I used to crave it, right? And
Yeah.
I used to wish that was what someone would know me as, and it really stumped me last year. My second Super Self Summit, which is my 2-day event that I run, it was supposed to be the best thing ever because it was the second one. And to be fair, like practically it was, but I felt so like empty and lost
Hmm.
afterwards. And it was because I was slightly off. I was trying to be the English Tony Robbins.
Mm.
Like it was part of my motivation. I wanted to show everyone. I was like, yeah, I'm going to show you. You don't know who I am yet, but you wait. You're going to be like this, and this,
Yeah.
and actually, it takes a lot to be honest about that and to come out and say that that's what I was
Mm.
doing, and I was doing that, and it didn't work out for me. But it gave me a lesson, and that lesson was that you shouldn't try and be like a lesser or a different version of someone else. You should be the best version of you. I know that sounds like a bit of a cliche comment, but when you actually feel that, those of you out there that have had that like identity shift, and you have to really back yourself, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to go with that title. You just understand it so much better. So yeah, I mean, the weird thing is, Ryan, I think I shared this with you.
Mhm.
Literally, the first speaking event that I did after the Super Self Summit, so about 2 or 3 months afterwards, as I was being introduced, the lady that was introducing me, she actually said, he's pretty much an English young Tony Robbins. And I just laughed to myself.
Yeah.
It was almost like the moment I'd stopped trying to be that,
Mm.
someone said it, and it was like
Mm.
this like weird kind of circle of events. It felt quite nice actually. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's easy how people refer to what they know, don't they?
Yeah.
But you got to be yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I can reflect on my own journey, and I've had very similar comments around the Simon Sinek, and I was as guilty as most for just being a Simon Sinek fanboy, talking. I was phrased as being a leader from the books, and internally I was far from that. But what came out of my mouth must have just sounded like a pure fanboy. I think it was when I took a picture of my bedside table, and I had your book next to Unleash the
That's right, it was, yeah.
yeah, and I put a picture of it, and you were like, "Oh, great book collection" or something like that,
That's right.
and I was like, "How must it feel having your book next to Tony Robbins?" And then that's what prompted that conversation. So I appreciate that. That's really interesting to
Yeah,
hear.
because I told you, didn't I, straight away? I said
Yeah,
like that. It's funny you should say that
yeah,
because it was a bit of a thing. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So take us back then. What do you think has been critical to your mindset and your kind of growth over the last 10 years?
I think the way that my parents brought me up
Hmm.
was, I mean, I'm massively grateful because I had a really solid, loving upbringing, and didn't have any issues, any problems. It was very smooth. But the thing that they taught me was that you can't just have things.
Mm.
And I can remember crying my eyes out because like my best friends had a Game Boy and I didn't, and like my best friend had a pair of Nike shoes and I didn't, and I remember one day My mum, bless her, she knew I really wanted some Adidas poppers. And those of you that are around about 30 years old will know exactly what I'm talking about. I wanted some Adidas poppers, and she was like really cool with it. She was like, yeah, cool, I'll get you some. And I was like, this is weird, because usually this is one of those like, we can't have Adidas poppers, right? And she was like, yeah, fine, yeah, we'll go and get some after school. So all day at school, I'm like buzzing. I'm like, I'm getting some Adidas poppers tonight. I'm getting some poppers. Anyway, she takes us into town, and we go into this little shop, and she's like, right, what colours do you want? And I'm like, they're not Adidas. And she's like, well, what do you mean? They're the ones you want, aren't they? And I went, well, they're two stripe. Adidas is three stripe, so they're not Adidas poppers. And she was just like, look, you either have these or you don't have any. And I'm like, I can't understand why, but in the process of like wearing them to school the next day, and the kids going, oh, they're not Adidas, and that taught me that you can't just have things.
Yeah.
And that lesson has grown. It's developed into many other things. It's almost like a big branch, a big root, and it's just kind of gone off in different directions. But that was a real key thing, I think. Growing up, that taught me a lot about my mindset. Now I think back to that, it also taught me to be patient, taught me to work hard. And my mum and dad gave me and to be fair to them, they followed through with their promises. They made me do a star chart, right? 2 months. I wanted a white long sleeved Man United shirt with Roy Keane on the back. That's what I wanted, right? They're like, right, okay, well you can have that. However, first you've got to do 2 months of ticks, like in the thing. You only have 1 day where you blob, right? Where you're not good, so to speak. And so I did it. 60 days. Next thing, I'm ordering the shirt from the catalog, and it comes 3 days later. So, and then you get that appreciation as well.
I love that. I think one of the things that comes through strongly around your book is around this concept of legacy. I just wonder to what extent you're continuing your parents' legacy through your own journey and parenthood. What are you taking with you?
It's hard, mate. It's hard because it's a different person altogether, and it's a different culture, and it's a different time. Like the thing that gets me, right? Because I, being someone who coaches people as well, if your kid's like, oh, I want that, and you're like, that one of your biggest lessons and the reasons why you've got this mindset is because you know that you can't just have things.
Yeah.
Trying to explain that without, he's a different person, and it is quite difficult sometimes, I must say. Classic example. These days, the kids, right? If they want a song on the radio, they just say, I want that song on, right? You and I, if we wanted to listen to a song, we'd have to just turn on the radio, maybe flick through a few channels. We have to wait like 10 songs for it to come on. And then if we were lucky, we could record it, and then maybe we could play the tape later. But like now, it's just everything's so quick.
Yeah.
They want something, they can get it pretty much straight away. And so it's difficult to try and teach that lesson. I think that like parenting is just, it's like you can't overthink it. Do you know what I mean? So I look at my parents.
They've got a great role model.
Well, yeah. The danger, though, I appreciate that, but the danger is you try too hard,
How so?
then all of a sudden, I have to keep telling. I literally before I came here, it's weird you bring it up because I had a little chat with him, and I could tell he was listening. He's only 2, My wife just ripped me when I went out of the house. She was like, "You're having way too complex conversations with this kid." And I'm like, look, there's a reason why Daddy says stop if you run away. He says, it's okay if we're playing, but Daddy's going to look after you. So one day, you won't have that. You'll look after yourself one day. And he's 2, but he's like looking at me like that.
Yeah.
I could tell he's listening.
Yeah.
And he's quite smart. So I just went with it, and he gave me a hug and stuff. But like, if you try too hard, you can end up causing all kinds of knock-on effects. There's no right way of doing it.
Yeah.
So you just got to just go with the flow, I think.
The way I kind of visualize that, it's almost like the conversation between Mufasa and Simba after he gets caught in the elephant graveyard. It's that.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you know what? Like you won't believe this. You'll think I'm making this up. 2 minutes before we had that chat, he was shouting all the characters from The Lion King.
Love it.
I swear down.
I
swear down. So yeah, weird.
Love that. So we've heard a little bit about your mindset and how you've kind of built and developed. Tell me some about the things, there must have been some setbacks, there must have been some failures along the way. How have you responded to that kind of struggle and the hardship around your journey?
Okay, cool. Which element of it? Give me a sort of section that I can elaborate on.
You talk about in your book around coming back and then starting up the kind of being a personal trainer, and how
Yeah.
that was kind of early and it wasn't the done thing at that time. And tell me how you kind of maximized that and how you built that journey.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So I came back from New Zealand. I knew I wanted to do something as a PT, but I knew I didn't want to go and work in a gym. So I started off with a medicine ball and a power bag and a new car that I'd bought. Well, it wasn't new, but I went and bought it. It had a big boot, and you could put the seats down, so you could put lots more kit in there. And I used to drive round to people's houses to begin with, in the gardens and parks. And I did that for about 4 months, but then it started raining and it started getting dark. And then one day, as I was training one of my clients in their garden, the husband came out and he was like, "Hey, would you consider like a premises?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd love to. I'm looking for one. I'd like to do that." Turns out his mum rented this like small office and they didn't need it anymore. It was like its own building with a little bit of a driveway and stuff. So I jumped on the chance to do it. Again, didn't really know what I was doing, just sort of figured it out as I went along. And I guess the biggest challenge back then was like, I had to learn how to do everything. In terms of the business, I had to learn how to do the marketing, how to do the financials, how to do the delivery, because I was still quite new to the whole service, and then how to sort of forward plan as well. And I think with that, there came like the brand, learning as a young lad that your brand, especially if you guys are watching this and you are, in a personal brand type business, everything that you do is connected to your business.
Yeah.
You walk down the street. I mean, this is a classic one for people in the fitness industry. If anyone's in the fitness industry, and you're going to laugh. You walk down and you're holding, I don't know, it could be something really quite simple like a milkshake. And someone goes, "Oh, should you be having that?" And it's like the weirdest thing, because hang on, wait a minute. But you get this big reputation thing. And actually, it was probably a little bit too harsh for me. Like I went too far that way. And I started to like, figure, like I was trying to be too PC. Maybe that's the wrong statement, but doing these things to make sure my reputation was that person all the time. I'm not doing that because someone might see me, So that was a big learning curve. I had to be quite mature quite quickly, being like 20 and in that business responsible situation.
Yeah. How did you? Were there days where you just didn't want to do it? Motivation just out the window?
I don't think back then, but in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been a few of those moments where I've considered, like, both businesses where I've considered, oh, do you know what? This is hard. This is hard. And there could be multiple reasons why it's hard. We've had some tough circumstances that are out of our control, that you wouldn't wish upon anyone at the gym, in the gym business. And then, with the coaching and the events, there was that whole identity thing last year was tough. I really considered not doing the third one. So June was the second one. We'd already sold tickets for the third one. And at one point I was like, I don't fancy this anymore. Yeah. I had to figure out what I was. Actually, not what I was, who I am. Very quickly, because I had a responsibility.
What
So
helped
I built
you
a
do
brand. I'd sold tickets. It was all about removing the practical answer first. Removing myself from anyone who I thought could control or influence any big decisions, albeit good or bad. I had some really strong, helpful people around me, and I shut myself away. I shut myself away. Now, usually most people would think that was a bad thing, and it usually is a bad thing. But sometimes when you get to the top of that journey, in terms of your, like, what you want to create, right? There comes a time when you've just got to go on your own and then figure out at the highest level what you make of it all, without anyone suggesting or influencing you either way, even if it's helpful. And so some of the things I thought I should do didn't work, and then some of them did. But the result of that whole chapter was I know exactly who I am.
Mm.
Yeah, because you need validation, but that validation can't come from anybody else.
Yeah, love that. I love that a lot. So tell us about your events. Tell us about what it's like for people that come to a Super Self Summit.
What it's like, well, it's energetic, it's motivational, and it's educational.
Mm-hmm.
The idea with the Super Self Summit is that it forms a bridge between well-being and personal development. This is the learning. This is the level of clarity that I and my team now have over this event, and it wasn't there this time last year. We were too heavily in the personal development side of things. Mm-hmm. Personal development is an exceptional area.
Yeah.
However, it needs help for people to come into it. Mm-hmm. Because the only thing, like literally all they need to do, mate, is go, all right, I need to do, my mate's been telling me I need to do some personal development. I'll grab this book, and then they just go, nah, not for me. Because there's too many long words, there's too much ambiguity, and it just doesn't land.
Yeah.
And then they just write it off. So what we're aiming to do with the Super Self Summit is combine health, well-being, personal development. It's a multi-speaker event, so we have different perspectives, different points of view, top speakers, well-known experts, professionals, and influencers in their relative industries and spaces, to give everyone legit, authentic, heartfelt, and proven advice, strategies. Also have an amazing time. Spend 2 days with people who are just positive and in the right frame of mind and away from their usual stress.
Yeah.
To then go away and start making some changes. I did, and this is where that Tony Robbins thing comes in, Ryan, because at the second one, I tried to create transformations with people from stage, because I actually can do that. I'm actually, without sounding big-headed here, I'm actually exceptional at that. And I wanted everyone to see it, but that's selfish. That's where that's where I messed up, because I was being selfish. It wasn't about them. That shouldn't be the right conditions. They need more time afterwards. They need more time before. I'm just doing this in a multi-speaker 2-day event. That's not right. I didn't know that at the time. I learned that afterwards because I felt very strange about it. What we do is at the summit now is just bring people into that. Give them a little bit. Give them some ideas. Inspire them, but leave the transformation out of it, because people need longer. They need more. You go. I see these clips. And I'm all for going to events. I am all for going to events. But the first time someone does a board break or a fire walk or anything, it gives them a pattern interrupt. And that's good. But when they go to another event and do another fire walk, another board break, right? These things, they stop working. There was a reason why they worked when they worked, and that's because no one was doing that already. Now, like, you won't see any firewalks or board breaks at the Super Self Summit because it's super practical. And we want to bring people into the environment where they can start asking better questions, where they can start thinking differently, where they can start surrounding themselves with better influence in their life. And then should they want to come and do something else, we've got a program called the Super Self Retreat, which is a 3-day, all in just me. It's literally just me and my PA Jenna. In a hotel, like real nice hotel by the beach, and that's where we create the transformations. You won't hear me or say me you won't see or hear me talk about that much, because it's not something that we just go out to everyone with, because it wouldn't work, right?
Yeah.
I've got that sensitivity to my art, my business, my life, and also to the people that we help. Yeah. So I hope that makes sense. It's Super Self. It's like it's our show. It's the way in.
Yeah, I love that. You talk about being exceptional at, I guess, would you say facilitating transformations within people? How I don't believe that people are just great. I think it takes years and years of working and honing and practicing and develop. How would you describe your journey from being to getting to be someone who's exceptional at transformation?
Yeah, great question. I think we need 3 things. 3 things. You need expertise.
Mm-hmm.
So books, people, courses, and nearly said the second thing, and areas in your life where you can learn.
Yeah.
Expertise. Then you need experience. Experience is when you actually go and do it. And I've been talking a lot about this at the moment regarding video, right? Because people think that they need a stage, physical stage, to start to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I need to be on a stage because I've got something to say. You have to start saying it now, because otherwise you don't know if it's good or not.
Yeah.
So you need experience, because also you get your flow, right?
Mm.
And then the third thing is you need to have a pull from a point of purpose where you just feel like you're a fish in water when you're doing that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's your environment. You don't have to try.
Mm.
And for some people, that's like maths. For some people, it's table tennis. For some people, it's painting. We've all got something that we're pulled towards. And when we combine those three things, so think about it, like anyone that's watching this is good at something.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you would have been interested in it. That's that pull. The second thing, perhaps it doesn't matter what order it's in, you would have to go and learn it, find a good teacher, find a good coach, do a course, read a book. And then the third or whatever missing part would be doing it. So I think you have all three of those things. And I've been exposed to all three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that a lot. Is there, tell us more about the things that you do to help people. You talked about Super Self Summit. You've talked about your coaching and your retreats. What were the other branches of your empire?
Yeah, thanks, mate. So as well as the personal development, the life coaching elements, which you've just covered, there's also a strand of what I do, which is, well, it's not a strand, it's pretty much half of what I do now, the professional development.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are a lot of coaches, instructors, people who have a service that they can help other people with, who struggle with some of the things that I struggled with over the last 10 years. So whether it's that, like, belief to do it, whether it's the practical systems that they need to make it work, or whether it's the experience, the expertise. And the way I see it is, I'm here to make a difference to people. And if I can make a difference to people who make a difference to people, then I'm going to multiply. You know, from a selfish point of view, I'm going to multiply my purpose.
Yeah.
And I help these guys and girls to figure out how to make their passion work in a practical world.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's all about growing at the right at the right speed, not promising numbers, not promising, like, because there's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I'm confident that the people I help, when I look them in the eyes and they understand me and I understand them, we're a good fit. We go.
I love that. You've got a podcast, and you obviously have people at your Super Self Summit. Where did this start of collaboration? When did you embrace collaboration, and what's that done for you?
I actually think I need to do it more.
Yeah.
Actually, I do need to do it more. I think it's, to be honest, it's just laziness. I love the way that you've put this together and been so organized with it, and done your posts and done your questions, and you've been great. Contacted me multiple times. So I think that we need to up our game from that point of view. So we'll take note from what you've done with this. Yeah, I think collaboration. I mean, I started my first podcast in 2010. I've had 3 podcasts and taken them off after I started the next one because I was so embarrassed about the previous one. I've still got the audio files somewhere, but I just took them off iTunes. And I just really enjoy it. I do. I really enjoy talking to people. I mean, you're great at it. You ask great questions, and what it does is it brings a different energy to your audience, right? So it's something that we definitely need to. I need to definitely do more of. But it's always been on the radar.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
My ethos is all about helping people be always better than yesterday. Just curious to know what that phrase brings to mind for you.
So I've been thinking about this because I know this is your thing, and for me, I'm going to go with my instinct, my gut feeling, my gut answer, and that was that every day when we are awake and we take in information, through our senses. We then go to sleep, and I imagine our brains now are working through that information. Being better than yesterday it's about taking that information and changing the patterns, which end up being results. So it could be a thought you had, because you don't know how changing that one thought could change everything. It could be the way you looked, like you communicate with your body, with your face, with your eyes all the time. It could be that you should have looked someone in the eye, but you didn't because you just weren't confident enough in the moment. But that's what they needed right there and then. Or there was an opportunity right in front of you, you didn't see it. These small, tiny, little tweaks, I think, are what we can do every day to be better than yesterday. Just thinking and evaluating about what we did, whether we do it consciously or not, it doesn't matter. We just want to increase the need to do a little bit more every day.
I love that. So I think what you're talking a lot about is, say, whether it was conscious or unconscious, but the art of reflection. Are there things that you do as part of a routine or some habits that factor in reflection time?
I would love to be able to say that there's like, 9:30, I sit down and I meditate. I can meditate, like traditional sort of close your eyes. I meditate all the time. I meditate all the time with my eyes open. I meditate when I'm sat. Just any time there's no one around me. Yeah. You know, I could be on the toilet, Ryan, right? And I'll meditate. That's your headline. Because I'm synthesizing my behavior all the time. Yeah. I'm thinking about things all the time, and not in an exhausting way, just in an internal dialogue way. We've all got voice inside our own head. No, I'm not trying to say anyone's crazy here. We all do.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I know you get it. There's an internal dialogue inside our heads, and if we can like make that, think of that as actually that's you. That's you. This is like the second part. That's actually you. So listen to it. Have a little chat with it, in your head. Figure out what it's trying to say to you. People try and force meditation. They're like, oh, I need to meditate. And the amount of times now I hear it, it's like what people say about water. 15 years ago, don't drink enough water. I know I need to drink water. Now it seems like when people are like, I know I need to meditate. I know you don't need to meditate. If you think you need to meditate, you're doing it wrong, mate. Yeah. It's about listening to your head, not trying to force some kind of weird thing. Just chill and listen. That's it. So I do it all the time, mate.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Shower, staring out the window for long periods of time,
driving.
Even
just anything that you can just hear your thoughts. And even if music on, you can still do it.
Yes, music helps me a lot. And the one thing I'm finding out recently, and I've Googled this because I wasn't sure whether there was something, that I listen to a song and I have it on repeat. I can listen to one song repeat for about half an hour to an hour. And, people think I'm just crazy. But for me, it's because it's so repetitive and predictable. I'm not focused. And then I can then, but I had to Google that just in case it was a symptom of something else.
When I did, so I used to compete for England at sport jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And in the World Championships where I was successful, because two of them I wasn't successful, I had a playlist of 5 songs, and that was all I listened to. I knew what those 5 songs were. Oh, mate. Okay. What? Jeez. One of them was, I can only remember like 2. I could probably remember the worst two songs. I had Will Smith.
Yeah.
Boom, Shake the Room.
Of course.
Obviously.
Pure 90s.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure I had a Pendulum song. I don't know which one it was.
Slam.
Then I had Hot Stepper, Inni Kamosi. But these were all purposely chosen, right? Yeah. Because they meant something to me at the time, parts of my thinking that I wanted to call upon. I actually did the same thing when I wrote my book, actually. I had 7 songs in a playlist, and I shut myself off in Starbucks I went into Starbucks 5 a.m. Every morning for like 3 weeks.
Wow.
My wife didn't know. My wife didn't know I was doing it because I just wanted to just go and do it.
Mm-hmm.
She thought I was going to work early. I guess I technically was, but this new Starbucks had opened like on the A303.
Mm-hmm.
So I just used to sit in there and it's the same 7 songs, and that way it felt like one long session.
Mm. Yeah.
And it was the same mindset every time because there was no randomness to it. It was like, right, I'll write my book, so I'm going to listen to those 7 songs. And I chose them to, again, help me get into the right frame of mind and that creativity.
Yeah, I love that.
And we can do little things like this all the time. And these are all little environmental hacks that we can create in our own life, to influence the way we think.
That's awesome, mate. I could talk to you all evening. I'm sure we've only scratched the surface of the things that, your mindset and the things that you'll be able to do to help other people. So what I'll just say is, guys, girls, push our faces right now. Make sure, if you're not already, give Tommy a follow. Make sure you connect with him. I've tagged his business page within the post here, so go and give him a follow. And yeah, go and consume all of the wonderful content he's putting out. Make sure you get a copy of this. It's available on Amazon.
Yes, it is.
I've got my own copy, and I will be looking out for. When is your next Super Self Summit? When is it?
It's June 22nd and 23rd, and it's in Winchester.
Fantastic.
And we're actually going to be releasing a lot of news around that event this coming week. So those of you that do, which I'll be very appreciative of anyone that does tag along and say hi after this to a professional page, then yeah, stay tuned.
Fantastic. We'll do that. Where can people connect with you? Where can people find you and more of your content?
The best place is, if it's your thing, Instagram,
mm-hmm.
at Tommy Gentleman. But I'm on every social media platform, all the major social media platforms. And the only thing I will say is, because of the technicalities of how we made this happen, I'll just say it to avoid any awkwardness. Unless I already know you, if you add me as a friend, I probably won't accept it because I just don't really use my personal Facebook page. So head over to the professional page because I always check my messages and always reply.
Amazing. Can you do me the honour and the privilege of leaving a final thought from Tommy Gentleman?
Final thought is, don't put too much pressure on yourself.
Mm.
Go with the flow. And if something pulls you towards it, investigate.
Yeah. Mr. Tommy Gentleman, you have been inspiring, pure gentleman, and I am grateful to be connected. I hope that we continue to connect in future, and I will definitely be coming to check out the Super Self Summit in June. Thank you so much for your time. Everybody that's tuned in, if you've got any questions, then please do make sure that you put them below, and we will spend the time going back through them, I have no doubt. And make sure you go and follow Tommy and all of his content. Hope it's added you some value. If it has, push our faces, please do push that share button. If you've listened on the podcast or caught up on YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening to this, thank you for taking the time. And I'd love to know your thoughts. Drop in any questions that you've got. Tommy, thank you for your time. Have a great week and all the best for the birth of your child in the next couple of weeks.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Anytime.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care, brother.
Bye.